Another morning again inside we had. Plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join me.
Alright, good morning and welcome to another beautiful edition of a program we call Colores right on we are on YouTube and on Facebook. Well, today, like all other time them, we actually look at the different story them where they come out of the different newspaper them, and then we get the people them where they actually use their own master sabi for analyze then different issues than they. Well, today inside the program, it really get for be really hot. How the Colores with the pull on a fire, now so we can eat a hot one because we get two people them where they join we inside the program where they don't stand by. And today, I'm not sure say we will get issue with the internet because everything look smooth this particular morning. So if that be the case, we will go straight and start with the newspaper them where we don't get inside the program this morning. The one them where we actually don't get inside the program this morning. The first one they begin with the open space newspaper. The open space. Oh, okay. Sorry. Where they start with the very first paper for this morning. Where now the open space newspaper. Open space newspaper say government to construct 5,000 houses at John Obey. And as ACC jumps high again, Salon passes corruption index 4 consecutive time. This and other story there for you inside the open space newspaper. And the next one at the night watch where say if VP Julde goes, a warning to the SLPP. And then you as well get Southeast still angry with SLPP. And he gets other one where say as he is ready to lead, 23 former ministers endorse Kamara, and how too much restrictions ruin the economy. This another story inside the night watch. And the next one are the weekly analyst we say massive declaration for Dr. Samuel Kamara, and you get PR ruling for straight independent and presidential candidate. School feeding launched in the western area targeting 57,530 pupils in 197 schools. This is another story for you inside the analyst newspaper. And the next one for this morning now the weekly analyst, and the next one for this particular morning, a voice of Salon we say KKY to replace VP Julde. And you get digital economy eliminate money laundering, says President Bill. You get start Sierra Leone banks 4.1 million grant from multi-donor trust fund. This and other story for you inside Voice of Salon. The next one now Camboy Times newspaper where say police warn stay off QNet. And you as well get local foreign currency theft at Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, 6 arrested, 1 on the run. This is another story for inside Camboy Times newspaper. The next one for this morning now the C4D media where say big blow to mines minister as government may withdraw a rise IPP contract. You as well get big boost for Marampa and Mafoki residents as CTC pays 1.9 billion mining surface rent. This another story there for you inside the C4D media with UBA appoint Abiola Bawa as first female CEO for Africa operations. This is another story for you inside the C4D media this morning. And the Concord Times newspaper and the next one will say persistent power outage impairs parliamentary sitting. Unity Party leader is missing. 23 former APC ministers endorse Samuel Kamara. Omrigoli sets to launch for brand new agriculture training center nationwide. President George Weah to seek re-election. This is another story for you inside the Concord Times newspaper. And the Freedom Post newspaper gets KKY back to SLPP. And inside this particular paper, you get safeguarding democracy why digital transformation of the electoral process is critical. School feeding launched in 197 schools in Western area. NACSA starts monitoring of GPC projects in 3 districts. Bench warrant for stadium manager. This is another story for you inside the Freedom Post newspaper for this morning. The next one at the Independent Observer will say she is the bridge of Douazak community as Dr. Samura Kamara endorses Fatmata Jacqueline Turner for Member of Parliament. And you as well get Leone Afrique Metals Sierra Leone Limited concludes disclosure and consultative workshop. This another story for you inside the Independent Observer. And the next one, a Premier News, will say US support WFP's response as high food price increase. Omrigoli to launch 4 new agricultural centers. Sierra Leone Turkey to expand trade volume. Sierra Leone progress in corruption index. This is another story for you inside the Premier News. And the indigenous newspaper say Ministry of Health and Sanitation to account for 4.9 billion on the bank withdrawals. Audit report 2021. The skyrocketing increase in prices of goods in Freetown. Sierra Leoneans cry out loud. And ahead of June 23, polls NGC in talks with SLPP to form a coalition led by Honorable KKY. This is another story inside the indigenous newspaper. And the next one at the Apex newspaper will say US provides 3.2 million emergency food and development assistance to Sierra Leone. New mother gives birth to triplets at UMC General Hospital. Resident of Marampa, Mafoki praise community trading company TTC mining for payment of 1.9 billion as surface rent. And you as well get Calabar resident welcome Leone Agric Metal Sierra Leone. This is another story for you inside the Apex newspaper for this morning. And the Salon Compact gets massive financial irregularities at NATCA. 6.9 billion missing. 1.9 billion with windfall for Marampa and Mafoki chiefdom. This and other story inside the Salon Compass for this morning. And the Provincial Times say uncontrolled construction on wetland poses threats to Makini. KKY Buhaha. Andrew Kiley weighs tough. This is another story for you inside the Provincial Time. And the Solutionists say Statistics Sierra Leone get 4.1 million grant. And you as well get as CRVS data is critical for development. President Bio launches securitized ID card. Kailaun Koidu Guinea Liberia border road project approved. This is another story for you inside the Solutionist. And the Freetown Daily Government Awards Kailaun Beidou road contract, school feeding project target 197 schools in Western area. This is another story for you inside the Freetown Daily. And the Calabash newspaper say Foreign Ministry to account for over 470 million leos as double payments of EDSA. You as well get, in addition to other reforms, Justice Minister commended for drafting the Constitutional Amendment Act. This another story for you inside the Calabash newspaper for this morning. Our newspaper says Statistics Sierra Leone get new statistics in general, and as it signs $75 million solar project, Finance Minister solicits World Bank support for Transco CLSG projects. This another story for you inside the Awoko newspaper. And the Salon Times say outrageous blackout grinds Parliament to a halt. This is another story for you inside the Salon Times newspaper for this morning. Well, now the paper then this way we actually get this morning for we can discuss the issues them we don't come inside the different paper there this morning. But we guess to actually already. Before we bring them inside, it's like semi why it's better Koreas. Before me bring them come inside, let us take this short break.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wall and we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. salon time from Monday to Friday, both Facebook and YouTube. Usai we go bring to una different guests them where they can help for talk about the newspaper. We are channel for the people, the voice of the voiceless.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wall and we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning.
Alright, welcome back. Welcome back. If you just joined me, don't forget for like and share the program. And so other person wait for discovery. Well, we get two people and we don't already join me inside the program today. I will start with the one way. For the very first time, we don't get them inside the program. We na Marcos Bangura, we na the publisher and managing editor. We can say na the headman for one paper we call C for the media newspaper, and same way so in the executive director for Citizens Forum for Democratic Accountability. We then can say C for the and accountability. So basically they are so for C4D and as CSO. So in other words, it take two capacity in this one. It get heavy weight as a journalist and as civil society, you know. Somebody we own and they control news them where they come out from the different newspaper them, and as well don't they advocate for the people them. You know, Marcos, you know, la bring you inside quickly. Welcome to We Are.
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting me this morning for the first time into We Are, the very popular network.
Thank you. You know, so I basically don't they follow. I want for before we talk about the Korea's business. We don't they follow you, and we find out say the work where you do as civil society that they reflect in this paper. Yeah, we mean say you know like the same way I've been there. What they do community story them like 98.1 for example. You know I've been like for do like them. Story where they're very close to somebody's heart, and I don't watch your paper several times and I find out say it actually gets the kind of taste than they. Why you so much particular about some story like that one?
Me coming to these operations, this journalism business because of the passion I get. If you see my paper a little different because of the kind of story that we come out with. We always endeavor say we get a lead story. Most of our stories are we create them. You know? So as to enable people for
so what you say create? What you basically mean now they create them?
In the sense that you get certain stories and we normally sometimes we want posting or publish them. If you look at the content, they're almost the same with other newspaper.
Yes.
Right? Look at if you take the time for read my story, right? We either a lead story or whatever, when you read them, you find out say we know they just depend on a particular write-up way, probably an editor don't do somewhere, share them, everybody, you know, look at them. We in terms of we context, in terms of we language, you know, it's completely different. So that's make we unique one kind way.
Yeah, so you're not able to press conference to press release for able for do your paper.
All depends on if there is a press release we actually okay, right, as far as it touch the hearts and minds of Sierra Leoneans, then we can publish her. You don't mean to say they publish a person, we do that, right? But most times we get certain stories that we actually defend way or create. When I mean create, what we they build up. Because if you look at most of the papers, not all, but most of the papers, they find out say there are certain stories.
Uniform.
It's almost in terms of the context, the language, and everything. So we can look at and say, no, make we do this thing. For example, like my lead story. So I think at the third time this way, I don't publish almost the same story. You understand? Different caption with different introduction. If you look at them from the first one to this one, you find out say, I always the review and back. Though that the first story, because as we get information, right? Because we believe in research. Because
Research
mind you, IT and points of view. When you look at the paper C4D, we mean Citizens Forum for Democratic Accountability. We more focus. We get a niche in accountability and transparency. So as a result of that, we focus more on their areas than they. We get so much interest in human interest stories as well. Right? When it need be, we make sure say we put them into effect. So that kind of the C4D media newspaper actually operates. Interestingly,
you see, the test where you paper get, because of the combination of two journalists and then CSO, we always did at the ground. You make a remember me boss, me first time boss Asana where he always tell you say if you want to forget perfect story for people, you forget combination of two. The journalism background, and you for as well think of somebody when you never even get that journalist background for able for combine because you get the story or you get the history as the speaker from your heart. When you get the kind of things, then you get unique paper. Anyway, I don't follow him and I also comment that paper there because it really cool with the kind of story that we made on the see so far. Thank you very much for the work. I hope say you could continue with this kind of good production where you actually don't do so. All right. So before I come to Lawrence, one question where I go ask you, where now the tradition this for this program, where like I don't ask every other person. The name of the program named Colres. So of course inside we country where you talk about Colres, like other side na the wall where they talk about breakfast, not to rest. Again, different other things there, but we both stuff we rest as Colres and other things there. So the question why they ask you, when na the last time where you actually eat Colres?
3 days ago. 3 days ago.
And waiting at the sauce where you actually eat?
A granite soup.
Granite
I get
soup.
3 beds the way I like. Normally, where you sleep and try to rest, I can like for eat them the more. That is cream, granite soup, and beans. They are my 3 best.
Oh la la. So for the case of this program, or for the sake of this program, pardon you 3 best in the we want you can't give me one. In other words, the test where you can't give me in the program for analyze all the issues they come out of that you best correct the way you like. So this one where you go choose out of the 3 granite soup, beans and then cream. What's what you give me?
I go choose cream.
Cream. Okay, this one you can't give me the hard truth, but at the same time, it pass quick for good on. All right, so we come to your man that the host where now Lawrence, he don't need an introduction anymore because he face and name don't turn the way now. So Lawrence of Freedom Post. One thing where I go like about this program, even when we not begin talk about anything yet, on our two get similar style. Lawrence now one person where in paper not like it well not that in they do like you say press conference or press release, but in all to the focus on that and the as well one for the go for things then where it always get in your angle, you always get in your own style for a paper. I think that they make it unique. Like we self now, so we always like forget something we're just too unique. Where somebody gets a taste of that one day for no say now from we they come out and you taste just too different. So I think say na fine program this week can get this morning with this kind of brains we actually sit down. You also for talk to your people them. So let me start with the paper then where we get inside this program this morning. I go actually scroll quick one paper there where I know be don't read but it just come inside when at the owl newspaper. It says shameful can the Young Keller abandons NGC and you as well get as hunger increase in Sierra Leone, US support WFP response. So I will basically combine this particular paper with two because lawyers there. Can the Yumkela abandon NGC? Then I will go straight and take your own paper where now the let me see, Freetown Post. Yes, Freetown Post. I will take Freetown Post and the owl and combine them. Let we see how best we able for do. In your paper, Lawrence, you get this big banner headline where say KKY back to SLPP. And we hear this issue of audio where we listen to, we see, like a newsletter, the NGC Salon Twitter page, where that gets a lot of contradiction, But I think we get way how we go look at that story there. But first of all, it don't confirm now, say, can the Yumkela don't go na SLPP or is still doubt of whether it will go or not? Lawrence.
Yeah, make I put that into context so people understand the justification for that headline. It is not that Kande Yumkela officially or formally declare it.
Okay, so waiting I go and follow the quick. Just hold on. Mute you set balance something. Just mute you Zoom. Unmute them again. Marcus, mute you on quick balance. Okay. You still listen to Colores on We Are the YouTube and on Facebook? Alright, so let begin observe. Marcus, hold on to you mute say for now. Lawrence on mute and let we go last see something.
Okay, yes, I'm live. Unmute my mic already.
Okay. Go on with your points, please.
Okay. Now let me put it into context. What happened is that on Saturday, January 28th, the National Grand Coalition, then we get a big meeting. Supposedly, an online meeting again. It was an online meeting where they conduct the executive lower level elections. They recently them don't elect national officers of the party. So this was their first meeting after all the lower level elections. So in that meeting, as part of the agenda and part of their discussions was that the NGC is open up to form an alliance with the ruling party government, and that the parliamentary leader for NGC, when Honorable Dr. Kande Kole Yumkela, for lead a select committee where for engage with President Bio on the possibility to form an alliance with the SLPP ahead of the 2023 June 24 multi-tier election. Now, this came about as a result of the fact that in February of 2022, President Bio being big takeaway for come back in the SLPP, where in go work in a kitchen. From there, during this New Year's holiday, January 1st, 2023, President Bio be invite KKY for join them na the church service na Tihun when President Bio in village. We say go observe the New Year's Day celebration. So besides these two meetings, when a public meeting, these two individuals don't they engage in close talks about coming together, forming an alliance, KKY going back to SLPP and all that. Now in the meeting, they agree say NGC for form alliance with SLPP. That KKY now for lead a small delegation, a small team, wait for the engage with the SLPP for plan for all the processes and everything. And are not just besides the audio, the video messages that were leaked, because that was an NGC meeting. There was no way where somebody for the leak come out if not been disagree or disagree with that particular decision day or resolution day where the party take. So I even called the Secretary General, the substantive Secretary General of the party. I spoke with him. And he confirmed to me, say yes, all NTR talks to, the outcome of the meeting, went in and discussed and everything, not so it be. Now, why is it that we say KKY back to SLPP? From KKY in words then, it is evident. They say the Ghanaian Parable they say coming events cast their shadows. In what's the way it talk? The evidence is this man has already gone back, but he not officially or formally declare it or make it public.
So you see, like in the words, in a voice, he gets passion for get that kind of discussion where you make it go back.
Yes. There is no say the likelihood. There is a very strong likelihood. And in fact, to make matters worse, from public perception or opinion pool, you get people that will support indecision. As well, you get many people in back will see that decision as an act of betrayal. Because mind you, before KKY and Dennis Bright and others have formed the NGC, KKY was SLPP. A can contest for the flag bearer of SLPP ahead of the 2018 election, but it not been succeed. When we make now them break away the wife of the late former president Ahmed Chiankaba and others they go from the NGC. Mm-hmm. When they formed the NGC, when they formed the NGC, KKY was very, very vociferous in criticizing the SLPP, even when SLPP was in opposition. Was very vociferous in even criticizing the then government All People's Congress. To the point that it came with this mantra say, then two parties there, na Alusain and Alasan. They don't mean better for this country. It came with the mantra of kleptomania, kleptocracy, juntocracy, when even this regime take power away during that incident at parliament, it's in form of it described as a juntocracy and everything. So somebody who has been this critical and where don't present itself like the pope of politics, like the political pope in the country. People are not expect such a person for like at this critical point in time, especially when the issues of bread and butter, the country, the struggle, people they suffer and everything, you form alliance with one of the picking them, the Alusani or Alasan, we don't call Salon for today, next day, so today. So all of those things I make up the content of that story.
Okay, now you right there, come with Marcos inside. Marcos, this na public, discussion right now. The issue of Kande Yumkela in discussion, in conversation, in negotiation with the president, of whether he say inanswerable to nobody, he can discuss, then will continue for discuss until they reach to that point. Usai, then will reach, say, we don't reach to conclusion. And at one point again, we see Usai, like where Lawrence don't say, the president will go get Kolata na in own tongue. And he say in this audio, he say, all work for 1 year. So now the time this now for later reach to that conclusion, they where they almost done they reach to. Please unmute your mic and tell me what do you make up of this particular, audio and the newsletter will come out, of the day. All right, the program where you watch right now, Nakoles, on we had on YouTube and on Facebook. We actually they discuss different things then when they come out of the newspaper then.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. This is a very, very important topic for discussion. I don't listen to Lawrence, and of course, I subscribe to most of the things that he said, because when you look at a situation wherein KKY come into this country and present himself to be the cleanest of all when you talk in terms of politics. And me view say one of the major reasons why the country didn't progress now, because the one they urge for going into politics are not politicians. It's not because you are educated means say you can be powerful when it comes to politics. You go get all the you can talk all the talks, but when it comes to understanding the gymnastics in politics, it could be very, very difficult. We get people like likes of Shaka Stevens, we not to that kind of educated person. Of course, we know say that like diploma I get, but I know go take him from and say he was not that kind tactician, that kind politician. KKY in the first place make a very big blunder way out of the SLPP. And if you understand the political history run as Sierra Leone, we almost say for now there are two major political parties. That is not to say another one will emerge. But when you look at the test of, when you look at how political parties then emerge, how they demise, even in the 60s, even before the 60s, towards independence, we get several political parties then, but they're all demise. So KKY do waiting if I don't do force. If I don't exercise patience, he's a politician we not get patience. One, he not get patience because of the crucibles that we face at SLPP enable for BIA. He decide for opt-out. He consider himself say he's powerful, he has the connections. And because at the time he been talk with people for Yeri, and he was admired so much because just like we attacked the two political parties for being twins and committing serious offenses, say for example, the Salah Hassan and Al-Hussein. So it's very disgraceful at this particular moment in time for two political parties that we totally condemn, where you not look beyond your nose, you not reflect, for actually no say the decision we've been taken not be correct. Some of the rhetorics that we've been saying, even if they were true, but they're able to withstand the test of.
I will take from one particular word from what you say just now. You say because of waiting, even they say people admire them. So if I listen to this word fine, and if I process and find an aid, not to eat as the individual they actually they admire, but now because even they speak to the issues them, maybe they affect the lives of the people.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So people that admire, in the sense of the thing that we say, because they say we want to influence people. Tell them what they want to hear. Another particular time, he been able to tell the people that they want for Yeri, you understand, by actually leveling criticisms against the APC by then. And we all know there are lots of issues then. Then also SLPP. So they say, but this person attacking the two sides, for the right reasons. People they admire in rhetorics, in movements and all that kind of thing. But politics, patience are one thing. Right? It means that if you're not able to exercise patience, you can't be a political leader. Because if you look at waiting, you feel say you're an opportunist. I would talk say you're an opportunist, like in the case of KKY now, right? Because there was this issue about this 1 term and 2 term limit, you understand? Where people feel say no matter the circumstances, it was going to be difficult for APC for actually go for a 3rd term, right? Then also, SLPP was there, but Bio, when you look at in character and all that, he was the most vilified person. So with him being the leader, you understand, flag bearer of SLPP, it was going to be very difficult. So he feels, say, okay, now, let me come with an NGC. He decided to come out with the elite class. Because when you talk about political party and construction, you talk about the elite political parties, you look at the mass political party, you understand? Then when you look at the two, it's very difficult for an elite political party to survive in Sierra Leone. Most times, they're mass political parties. And when we look at APC and SLPP, they are mass political parties, wherein you get the riffraffs, all Jack and Jean, you get in there, you understand? Whilst they talk about the elites, they talk about either business tycoons or well-educated people in society. So,
let's take one particular thing from waiting he say again, yeah? It basically talks, say, now, because in not the talk, a lot of people, they come back at him. Because, in as far as I'm concerned, that don't show, say, in voice matters. So now, if you go on aside, people them, a lot of people them they cry say the system, the all the system they go, the waiting the government promise not to him. In fact, the government like he gets mismatch right now. Waiting the government they do, waiting he promise and waiting he promise for fix all of them things and then are contrary to waiting them he promise. Yeah. So if can't defend himself in that kind of situation, where people be they expect say in own voice for them be every duty for them for add into the kind thing where they happen at parliament, the kind thing where they happen at the executive arm of government. If infant himself in that kind of cabal now, then we go see kind of Yumkela the turn the Charles Nagai.
Yeah, when we look at the statement we can make, it's like it didn't stand on any leg. Because if you talk, say, if they begin talk now, that is to say, when he talk, they address the issues of the day. You will get a whole opportunity. One conviction we may get, and the fact say, forget a good politician or a president. It is what's necessary that you go through parliament. We go through parliament, just like you get the British parliamentary system. You know, even in the United States, most sets of presidents them must go on become either senator or don't serve in the House of Representatives. Right? Except for few. You look at England, in fact, you can't become a prime minister if you're not a member of parliament. Because a place where a training ground and a place where for able or actually project yourself. But when you look at KKY, you reflect prior to 2018 elections, the way he been did, the way he been talk, you know, the kind of sensible thing the way he been talk. They look at him, where God say, okay, go parliament. Go do something at parliament. He has not been effective. He was so dysfunctional. Because staying neutral at certain times, there is a saying that the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who, in times of crisis, remain neutral. Right? And in other kind of today, you don't get issues then where the national issues then, we're very biting. Where the issues that we feel say if we take an action or if we talk. But you go there, you not talk on them. There are only a few things that we talk about. So coming back, you know, for join the SLPP, a party where it did governance, you talk a lot of things, say there is a mismatch between what they do, what they're supposed to do, and the thing that they do. And if you say that, and today, we look at the situation where you try to create an alliance by itself probably is a coalition. A coalition, we all know, say, it's not effective, it's not efficient. So, still indecisive as to whether if we go fully and join the SLPP, or he do it by tactics or conny, you understand? He carry with an alliance. So all that, I'm not too impressed with him, as a matter of fact. Me, now somebody where I'm a political scientist, right?
You know, some people they say, you know, they're not actually one for they impressed with Kande. You know, Kande get right to what he want for do now one. Then secondly, other people they say, if not be APC, he make any attempts for go. So a lot of people not for they come out and talk about the action of KKY.
Me not to agree with that, except probably certain people will say so. Because me look at a situation wherein can they be able to stand out from the crowd and make the difference, right? By not joining APC, neither SLPP. But because he's so ambitious, say, I for be president. Now, you don't look at and say with NGC, it's going to be very, very difficult. And there is no way. Before 2018, in an interview now AYV, I make it very clear, say, KKY, we will get above 7%. I say it's not possible, despite the cloud, the talk, and all that. And I'm going to join SLPP or either APC. Let's say, for example, let's assume that he was also going to join APC. It is because it don't lack, you know, that affluence day, that influence day we get. Because it stands that particular side, 50-10, that retrogression. If you get
So
7%,
you feel say, I like how you Isai, Lawrence. You feel say if Charles, sorry, I wonder why they talk about Charles Magai this morning. Maybe that because of them get the same, characteristic. You feel say if can the Yunkela that in speed where he been come with 2017-18. If when he been there in parliament, he continue with that kind of pumping there for the people, speak the mind of the people. You think say if we been create more impact than what he been get in 2018?
Certainly, yes. I think where the fall started, now when a becomes so, I would say, it become a corny politician in parliament. Marcos highlights that very critical national issues require, I mean, him to make decisions on, or to take action on, or to speak intensely, he will keep quiet. Even recently, was it last week? Yes, last week. Yes, last week, where there was this election petition rules, where the Mikeguna Parliament, when it comes to the voting, NGC they all abstained from voting.
On a parliament.
Yes, and this is not the first time. There are several other decisions of voting where don't take place in our parliament. Critical voting where they abstain. Why? Because in our vote, take a position or something, we say, okay, a vote against the government bench, then not say, oh, you PC, or you vote in favor. But that is not the point.
So in other words, can the Yunkela and the NGC can the Yunkela and the NGC party they want join devil but they no want for dance to devil?
Now so it look like. But the thing is, let me tell you about this coalition, yeah. Way back in September last year, I think it was September 23rd last year, I have this information from a very credible source.
Okay.
So I'll be one for cross-check the information. Now I text in the KKY. I say my source information. The information we just say you don't engage in close talks with President Bio with the view of going back to the SLPP and forming an alliance and everything. I say, can you confirm or refute this information? I send a text message. It's here in no response. I send in WhatsApp couple of times. A read them because you know WhatsApp you don't read something they show blue. A read them in no response. I call them in no agree response. Imagine from last year September 23rd, that the first thing that day I have the evidence on my phone. Now the first time I have message and concerning that, and I've been able to do it, but another response. The thing is now, mind you, when SLPP go to the convention last year, Julius Madabio was unanimously, I would say, endorsed
yes,
as a flag bearer for the
then
party for the 2023 election. Now, the SLPP constitution say the flag bearer, whether elected at any national convention, the delegate conference also, the flag bearer, they get the prerogative, the right for choose in own running mate, not to party. They choose the running mate, it presents them to the party. Now, it was supposed to be an easier thing for President Bio at that time when they endorsed them, for himself just say, okay, since Julia Jalon and men to come, and they put them back or they choose them back as the running mate for 2023 elections. When I look at more, what you say, hey, it could have been very easy for him. Because there have been this engagement between President Bio and KKY. President Bio now choose running mate up till now. So I've been put that question there to KKY as Wabi. I say, me information are that you are in talks with President Bio with the view or with the promise that you go be appointed a running mate for the next election? They no answer.
I'm not going to answer.
And up to now, as much as SLPP gets a presidential flag bearer, the flag bearer not get a running mate.
So because Kade
speculation
very clear say, you know, anything a big man in the talk picking up or no. So for you as they go ask that question, they no need for answer to you. Because as far as it concerns, they say they get the $100 as far as it concerns, no answerable to them. So imagine now if that kind of person they sit on a position of trust for the country, how we going to tell we where they pay taxpayer, the $100 leaves will pay, what they going to use them for tell we.
So if President Bio up to now not choose a running mate, when a simple thing for him for do, so it creates that room for even wider public speculation that KKY is aiming or eyeing this position. And Marcus talk about him being ambitious. Is somebody that wants power or wants to rule alone. And likely, it's going to play out two ways. Maybe they not agree, they not come to terms as to whether President Diogo make him the running mate of SLPP. That's one. Secondly, he might also be contemplating on the aspect of betrayal. Somebody says, somebody be saying, say, beyond a possible you know for trust. So it might be contemplating the aspect of betrayal. Say, okay, if you say I declare now, I go formally, officially, everything, then they no come make me run in it, then I go embarrass my political career, go die instant and everything, because there will be no turning back for him. I hope you understand. So he might be contemplating on that. So Nakan Marcos say tactics and Kony na in the play. But politics again is a game of tactics as well.
So I'm not sure say they really the shame and they want for shame at all, because we don't see them, they go in and out of different political parties then. Anyway, let's jump to another issue, quick one, and because we actually don't take a lot of time on this, let's jump to the next one, where now the issue of, you know, Arise IPP. You know, see for the media, you know, actually get this big banner headline where they carry this money, where they say big blow to mines minister as government may withdraw Arise IPP contracts. Marcos, we think come up with this thing. You might mute. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. We know, over the past days and weeks, one of the hot issues that way concern the mines minister, Kim Mining Company, and Arise IIP in respect of the Pepel Railway, where now a very, very important transportation system within the use for transport them, produce them, or products, mining products, or materials for shipment abroad. We don't try for do with investigation. And of course, a clear say, originally the construction of the Pepper Railway was done by African Minerals. And we know say, when African Minerals become dysfunctional, then we get Kihun, and there was transfer of possession, right? So as a result of that, from time we Kihun take over, and I mean they responsible for the management of the railway, right? But in recent times, we don't get a lot of rumors, a lot of issues coming up, where in fact a lot of newspapers they get for hit hard on the Minister of Mines, where at the CC the tempo don't the cool. But we they continue because for the good of the nation.
I think secrets them will make the tempo down the cool down. We can't talk about that. Yeah. No, go.
Understand? So we get the conviction, say, as in the civil society perspective, we they look at waiting good for the country, right? Not merely we own personal aggrandizement. So as a result of that, now Kihun Mining Company don't threaten or take the government to the International Court of Arbitration. And we know say, I think about 2 years ago, London Mining, they also take governments. Now that particular court day, where government began for lost the case, it was a big economic loss to the government. So with these threats, there is a kind of negotiation now between Kihun and government, because they tried to make Kihun a pipe down, because the legal team of Kihun don't actually meet governments, then they on the discussion. I make I use the word may, right? There is possibility, and there is also a non-possibility, say, they will withdraw. But me just get the strongest conviction, because we get what they call the law of contracts, where two people are going into agreement, and the agreement not for be voided. You will void the agreement, then definitely now you don't default, for which you will suffer some encumbrances. So as a result of that, there is possibility, say, that's going to be withdrawn. That's part of our investigation, the extent at least where we don't go, we don't make inquiries. So it is up to government to make sure, say, then do what is right, rather than you allow just one person or a group of people, for bring the government down at a time when elections are coming, then other things are happening. The country is caught in a web of poverty, frustration, and all incident. They look at how the prices of goods and services at the moment is so skyrocketed. As you read the headlines, you get some people as the way even talk about that. So as a result, for make you go draw daggers with another company for something that, in fact, you are not correct in doing, a questionable, unspeakable, and we not go want a situation wherein the government or saloon as a nation can losses so much. Now in the crisis, they get a lot of debt for pay and get a lot of things they for do. So with this, because you have to look at the contract, the nature of the contract, the extent of the contract, and why in the first place, people in the blast for the Minister of Mines, waiting go don't lead to that, waiting go don't trigger that.
So
and
as
now
a journalist,
they find out
what you feel say really lead to the kind of thing there we make, but they see a lot of blasting, bombarding everywhere, and then the point, but who think about the minister, including parliament, say don't call him at one point in time, don't go charge on the and all.
Exactly. Say when you look at a political party, there is always a manifesto when at the party program. Despite the fact that in every ministry, you get a professional head, but the political head is the minister. And the minister always they try for put into effect the manifesto promises and for make government make government benefits. So as a result of that, taking a decision, the permanent secretary or a director cannot take a decision just like that. It will take them under the advice, or the instruction. Let me use the word instruction, because there are certain times where even the permanent secretary of a ministry can advise the minister. So it is up to the minister. Say, for example, where minister want for enter into that kind deal and day. There are a lot of issues around that day. There are a lot of saying that, in fact, there was somebody who occupied a very enviable position where in fact, was even fired as a result of this deal. So when they look at the situation, they look at the place, and it can affect a lot of companies. It can affect a lot of companies within that, despite the fact that the minister don't enter into that surreptitious kind of a deal. It is disheartening, it frustrating, because it make other investors will fear, say, if this particular thing, they can scrap them between Kihun and government, they will be scared, say, one day.
So
government can just
we find out, say, the governments they withdraw, the council, come in them, and they can't go to court. In some cases, the government they lost, and this don't make out bad business for we. You find out, say, plenty company they now out of risk, then they come down at the country for can do business, and the government always they tell you say they open the country for do business, but with that kind of things they are so, and then company they are so they all get outside and they meet up, discuss things them, of their nature they are, and of course this. All of their issues so good then at the platform they will send them they discuss them. So most of them go to fear now for camp say if I come, it's either this government will cancel my contract, or if we sign contract, the other government can and will cancel them. So all of this is bad business and it counts bad luck for the industry.
Sure, yes. Because you look at London mining, you know, them big company there, so they actually help, you know, for boost the economy. You look at what we have with London mining, where we dollar, in fact, we LEONE, you know, depreciates. Because during that period and day with London mining or African minerals, you find out, say, Forex, you know, go there enough. But after that particular period, where the Minister of Mines by then, right, I think it was Rado Yuki, right, a unilateral decision, understand, and scrap that particular which is MD. And we see how it affects the country economically in terms of employment, you know, in terms of microeconomics, in terms of a huge lot of issues then. And when they go, then what's the case? And if you come back, there is a contract, except you tell me, say, the contract been done, you know, they renew. That one is understandable, right? But if there is that contract, you get to look at the background as to how the railway, Pepe Railway was in fact constructed. Who are the constructor? And I find out, say, somebody they resurface in this thing also, right? Somebody they resurface where have been a key figure now African minerals.
Yes,
where we don't go.
Fantimis.
Yes. So resurfacing from waiting we they gather is part and parcel of ANALYSE. You understand? So in that situation, this person in fact even gets issue with the former government, of which I think they're not be even allowed for praise, something like that. I stand to be corrected, right? But if you go back, you come in another form. It's exploitation to this nation. You know, few people, they come and do what they want to do, disappear in oblivion, and appear in another form. So these are all things we need to take into consideration. You know, otherwise, no government for wise up.
Okay.
For wise
so
up,
in the beginning, when you begin for talk, you talk say this particular issue be warm at the media, but right now it don't begin cool down. So Lawrence, let's come with you inside it quickly. We see inside this company when ANALYSE IPP don't take a lot of journalists them, radio journalists, television journalists, newspaper journalists, and they don't care them go oversee, outside and say, then they go watch them project them in other country. You know, how you see this kind of action of ANALYSE IPP with regards to the journalists them, when are they can control the news?
Okay, now I just want to start off by giving a brief background of the Kingo and to Usa within now. I just did that summary. Now, in the very first instance,
Marcus, mute you mic quick, yeah? Yes, go ahead, Lawrence.
Okay. Now, of course, Marcus is aware. When China Kingo, before they get this license, so I want to show you some of the shady deals that we don't take place in this country.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Now, Kingo be get up to, you may get about 6 China Kingos, or the Kingo may get about 6 large-scale mining licenses for operate in a salon prior to 2019. Now, 2 of the licenses they're not be able for even operator. 2 of the large-scale mining licenses they're not be able for pay for renew their license. They induce the order for pay to government. So they may relinquish 2 of their licenses and then be left with 4. Which side did the deal start? Where then the government terminates this contract with African Minerals or London Mining, right? London Mining, the mine sooner the Eastern Kolili. Kingo go take over. Now, when I terminate them, you may get already thousands of tons of oil where the company be done mining. Where they only told them they wait now for ship that thing they go. So when I terminate that contract, the Kingos then say they can make something out of that thing. Now they go form now, they go register this new Kingo, the China Kingo back. They can give them license back for go take over that operation, that mining operation. They don't terminate that contract for London Mining. Now, when they terminate that contract, the Kingo then say they can give them license back for go take over that operation, that mining operation. For London Mining. Now, when they terminate that contract, the Kingos then say they can give them license back for go take over that mining operation. They don't terminate that contract for London Mining. Now, when they take over that thing, Kingo was not liquid. They don't get money for operate. Now this country, bruh. Then go now, because they either read for that deposit to them, people already be don't mind, the previous company be don't mind. So they make a deal. Inside that deal, Kingo now they ship that thing and go sell them. Government forget something around $20-something million out of that. Between $12 to $20 million out of that stuff. Or rather 12% of that. I can't really recall. But government get huge amount of money. So when they sell that deposit in now, that's where the people we don't mind, the former company we don't mind. Now they Kingo can take their money. Now they can begin settle down their operation. They change the name now from China Kingo to Leone Rock. But by then, before that site was handed over to Kingo, that agreement was taken to Parliament. Parliament now they ratified the agreement as per the dictate of the Constitution. Any such agreement, now Parliament will agree for them, ratify them before any company they start such operations. So by law, Kingo they be hand over, give them the rail and port and everything Kingo now they control. So if any other company want to use that place, that facility, they're supposed to pay to China Kingo or pass to China Kingo, where now they call it Leone Rock. So there is already a contract binding both parties, the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone, represented by the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources, and the China Kingo stroke Leone Rock. How did ANALYSE IIP came into this picture? ANALYSE IIP not get mining operations as alone. They not get investments as alone. So somebody sits in his corner and say, okay, if we then control the port and rail, then they not find money. So then they not go mean say now China Kingo or Leone Rock go to pay to them. And any company so far we want for use that facility go to pay to them. So now money making, this is a deal. Sierra Leone is a deal country. Somebody has told me that. So then go call this ANALYSE IIP. Now big names say they behind this ANALYSE IIP. Very big names who are not going to name now. Very big names
in the government.
Both in the government, in the media. I'm telling you. So the minister.
Okay, as you begin talk about the government and the media, I see the names them already in my mind. I see them. Not to your view, not to your opinion. I'm your view, I'm your opinion. And I see big names them as well. And I names them this especially one at the media where them they get hand on this African mineral thing.
African mineral. So the minister and the ministry, they're fully aware that there is a contractual agreement ratified by Parliament when binding on both parties. And there is no way ANALYSE IIP could take up that and assume full responsibility and control over the Pepel Port and Rail facility if that agreement does not go back to Parliament. There is no way. It will be illegal. It will be illegal. And it will be a treasonable offense for letting you take something at the country in facility because when they terminate that contract with non mining and everything, all that facility there becomes the property of the government and people of Sierra Leone. So now we get some government, the manager on with the app for generate resources for see that the resources when they generate able for use that for development purposes. So that agreement was ratified by Parliament. So if any company, whether not the minister or whether not the ministry or whether not the cabinet or whether not the president or any company so far will go take over operations of that thing without recourse to Parliament, it's an affront to the Constitution. And all these things they play. It's not possible for them minister grab one morning and go say this company, they go sign deal with this company, or go sign agreement with this company. If that thing not, they don't first discuss in a cabinet. And who presides over cabinet is the president. So many of these decisions were we can blast minister, but the box stop at the president, the box stops at the president, the office of the president, because the president chairs cabinet. And every decision so far, before they take, no minister will act on his own accord without recourse to cabinet approval. So the very first place, once you get cabinet approval, the second stage, and I follow if you do the necessary paperwork with the law officer department and everything, and go present them to Parliament for ratification. Without that, you cannot say we have any ANALYSE IIP. It will be an illegal process, and that could be challenged. That could be challenged in any competent court of law. And many a times we can talk, oh, permanent secretary this, permanent secretary that, or directors and this. Let me refer you to, I'm going to take the Constitution this now. Section 62 of the Constitution, Administration of Ministries. Larger read. It says where any minister has been charged with the responsibility for any department of government. Listen, he shall exercise general direction. You know, the minister shall exercise general direction and control over that department. And subject to such direction and control, the department shall be under the supervision of permanent secretary whose office shall be a public office. That is to say, the minister and the supervisor and the direct and control permanent secretaries or directors or whatever.
And for whatever directive where the minister they give or where it gets don't come from cabinet, and cabinets don't come up from in boss.
Yeah, nine. So the directors then are then for control the people who are their own department somewhere now. They are the way they subordinate to them.
In other words, now then they for implement the things then way they go don't get installed.
The thing where they don't come out from the minister. It don't. So we cannot be we should not be blaming PAMSEC or directors or what have you. The Constitution gives the ministers then power for direct and control the affairs of their ministries and the permanent secretary, the director, or you named it.
Correct.
Because the very first instance, now from cabinet city originates, the minister no go see on office to prepare a economy they call president beyond
yeah. It's not possible. Right now, if now be with the
so when all this they speak to corruption.
Kickback.
Number one, can go come in the picture in a form of corrupt manner. Then ANALYSE IIP is also now creeping into the picture corruptly.
And they're all, interestingly, government officials, they're aware of that. Not so you know more aware of that.
The repercussion is that now we the citizens of the country they put because no investors think their way if they go out, where investors credible investors that they see that kind of thing there. They're not pleased with it, they're not they can no sober minded. Let me tell you, if a credible investor may they see no because IIP must know say there is an existing contract binding between Kingo and this Kingo and they get legal rights over that particular facility. And that contract has not been severed. So a credible investor, if you know that you know the can mark, you can't say, me a credible investor, I want to take this place now you are. No. You go and invest somewhere.
That's why most of the newspaper they refer to this deal as a shady and corrupt and fraudulent things then.
Not corrupt deal, not fraudulent deal.
So we actually
not two way to describe it.
We actually not reached to the apex, the end of the program. So I get two issues where I go divide between all two. I will just make like raffle for LEONE to get them. The first one where they take persistent power outrage impairs Parliament sitting, Marcus, you take this one, outrage, to the first and this na Parliament for blackouts don't they make Parliament they stop them sitting and all of them things they are. And we don't hear how boastful, they don't be with regards the power supply in the country, how it don't stable, it don't they get consistent power supply. Why? Not to 110, not to 210, not to 310. It happen in Parliament anytime then they at the middle of very important sitting, light can just go where they make the sitting come to an end.
Yes, this another hot thing they carry on at the country right now, because anywhere you go, you get people they argue or they talk about the power outrage at the country. it's very good that Parliament they face that power outage because of several reasons. Because Parliament are the most powerful institution. When you talk about the three organs of government, legislature, executive, and judiciary, to me, Parliament is the most powerful. The Constitution gives Parliament so many powers, you know, where in fact, even the president will be answerable to members of Parliament. But because of the fact that this issue, Lawrence, they talk about the issue of corruption, right? Now, a major factor we make many things when you talk in terms of service delivery. We are one of my niche area as a civil society activist, right? Service delivery, the provision of socio-economic services at affordable and prices, as well as accessible. So when you talk about power, right, energy, when you talk about service delivery, when you talk about it being accessible, right? Now, if I don't say members of Parliament, they turn blind eyes and deaf ears on a huge lot of things that will happen in the country. Now, you look at how we face the question of electricity in this country also. Now, you don't go believe. I get locked halfway from when we start this program, lights no go, right? Even yesterday, are they about to prepare for make an iron for that go out? I've been busy to do one story. By the time I remember, you don't go believe, lights don't go. So I get for where which I don't be planned for where. You understand? For that go out. So these are the problem. So our Parliament, they sit on their own volition, they see them can't hear the happen. But they do very little or nothing to salvage the situation. You look at certain areas that, in fact, you get areas that we know they even get lights. And we know say one of the things that we enabled this government for CASHAPP in 2018, that the fact say they talk a lot about electricity, saying that the electricity under the former president have been temporary electricity. That we are not able to actually put certain structures in place where they talk about sustainability. You understand? And we still on the same table, the same ship, where the former government be one for use, where they can with. I doubt whether they be use them, and they kind of for use them with all that kind of money there. If you can get for pay, the poor car, something like that, you understand? If you can get for pay them, huge amounts of money. There's no possibility. So they're going to cut down in the supply of energy. And I want to make you know, say,
if I can remember the last time, I mean, 50 million, 500 million, where them be don't owe them something like that, the dollars.
So imagine how far it would not go to now.
36 million. The World Bank report makes it 36 million last year.
$36 million.
So you see, so that's all that issues. We move towards elections now. If the government is so serious about winning elections, right? Therefore, endeavor for make sure say basic social amenities, prominent among them electricity, water supply, if will be available. But then 2 years so, that's a big problem to the country. And what is Parliament doing? Now, Parliament, they call the Minister of Energy for go. We know what can happen in Parliament. You understand? If something happen, then go and end up praise the man. You understand? I can't imagine where Minister of Mines then call on a Parliament. You get key figures in the talk say, then get the minister in support. Just like where Lawrence said, no, we don't pass that side. You understand? The fact is, Cabinet decides almost everything before then do the first stage of the bill. You understand? Then from there, it go Parliament. So Parliament, and if you look at waiting are published today on the Minister of Mines, the inside story, right? Now the Speaker of Parliament and the Mines Minister that are put together, because all them issues they are so, you understand, they in the hands of Parliament. As powerful as Parliament, Parliament they exercise that power. And therefore, don't say we are under a representative democracy where we all know they meet one side. But on the side say this one whole constituency, we're made up of 35,000 people, for example, that you don't go represent 3. So when they did that place, they play that vital role for enable the country for making push forward. So electricity generally is down the drain. It's very frustrating. There was a time where I think sometime last week, a lot of newspapers then not being able to publish because lights go throughout. Say nets. Later, light, then give you light. So as a result, what happened? Papers are wait for publish, not publish, including me paper. In ground. You understand? So these are all the problems. These are all the challenges where we face when we talk in terms of electricity.
So actually, we done in the time done the in between, and I want for talk to now on something quickly. No, well, not to now. After this loan and not go, because quickly, very important that we talk about and we go figure in another edition of a program. Just 5 minutes. Lawrence, the team they come up inside quickly. We see yesterday, we see a press release from the office of the president, where then don't say they renew the contract of the statistician general, and they get another statistician general where they come. And interestingly, they don't promise and they don't give them in appointment 3 months before the term reach. So what you now make up of this? Is it that the midterm census boss not do good work for the park?
Okay, now let's go now two perspectives. One, the legal argument is that they're not SACAM a complete in term, but just that they not renew in contract again.
And possibly don't do good work now. Any office like my office will be there. Any time where they each time for renew, they're not they go take other person and they renew back because you don't do good work.
Yeah, based on performance appraisal and every other thing. So that's the one. Now the other perspective way I will put and say the court of public opinion. When the court of public opinion get for saying like that. This man conducted the most controversial census in the history of this country.
And sorry, in Master Sabidan the way he pull overseas for carry it.
Yeah. To the point that at the 11th hour, World Bank, where they support you, they withdraw from the process. That's a very big slap to in career as a statistician general and head of statistics really. So it appears in the court of public opinion that he has been used and dumb. But legally, they're not SACAMO.
No.
A complete in tenure of office, na in done in contract, na in done, na expire, they're not renew in contract.
So they don't tell us, thank you, I for go back to say come out.
Thank you. Good. But on a very serious note, the light situation is killing small businesses. Marcus mentioned how plenty people, over 20 to 30 newspapers and drowned last week. They not work because light no day.
So basically,
in fact, to such
not make people understand. They're not able for come out because of
light no day. You not come out because light no day. Not only for let you work, but even at the press outside there for go print and everything, they say no get light. So like many times what I can do because me get desktop now office, but I get my laptop. My laptop now what I get is now like desktop because in back they keep fire. So Marcus, you go learn from this. So like Sunday, just walk into a bar or restaurant, get you adapter, everything. Go, you buy one drink, you connect it so you walk.
So that the life running out on day. So now if you want to charger or you power bank,
all things for them like bag. All things, also you see like.
It don't turn fast months when you work out his spoon. Also you see eat, you don't eat. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate the Allah in this program. And I not go. I want to tell you we watch your program. Thank you very much for joining inside the program. The producer for this program is Elias Sabah and Marcos A. Bangura. We na the brain the master sabi man behind the C for the newspaper and same way so Citizens Forum, yeah, Citizens Forum, right? Okay, so
yeah, Citizens Forum for Democratic Accountability.
Okay, good. So I want to tell you thank you. Now the very first time this, and I know you forget you at all. Yeah, I think you're Lawrence na good match. But the next time I try for Puli and Lawrence and try for first somebody who are the PI to it. Because una just too hot and get that same kind way how they look at the issue them. So you go find for law get negative and positive. And I appreciate you. Thank you very much. My name is SLPP, the freedom fighter. God bless your country, Israeli, where we call we are.